Harry, what are your thoughts on cold thermogenesis, like ice baths? Oh, look, it has a hormetic effect. And so can actually improve immune functioning and stuff like that. But again, it's overblown. It's small, the effect. And you can get similar effects from, animal nutrition and reducing other crap in your environment. Exercise also has a hormetic effect. How much hormesis? Too little hormesis, not a good thing. Too much hormesis can be a bad thing as well. So it has to be within a range, So it's like stress. Too much stress, problem. Too little stress, also a problem, So, if you had very low cortisol, very high cortisol, that's a problem. So there's the sort of physiological range, and then there is outside the physiological range, either too little or too. So I know a lot of people tout a lot of this sort of stuff, but if you take a look at a lot of the longevity populations, they weren't doing cold thermogenesis now, were they? To get to over 100. I know my great-grandfather wasn't. He was just eating dairy and meat. He hated vegetables, lived to 107. So, and most of the actual long-lived people are pastoralists, if you take a look around the world. Even the low Melinda people, the vegetarians. Remember, I did the Grundy video. 50% of their intake was was dairy based. That's excluding the eggs, the seafood, and other things, and some of them eating even meat. In those days back there, pre-refrigeration, it was 2/3. The difference is they were doing 2/3 while everybody on the standard diet was also doing 2/3, but also they were consuming a bit more sugar and other things and doing less exercise. And that's why those vegetarians were slightly better in their, general sort of stuff. And even there, they fabricated the data back in the 1950s. Study that Bart shows the inverse was true about the animals' intake food of meat. But anyway, that's another sideshow of fabricated how. But in general, as Grundy himself went there, and the nutritionist told him, no, our people, this is our dietary approach. It's not low fat. It's a lot of dairy food. So that's how they did it. They don't do it anymore. Why do you think they don't do any studies from that region anymore? Because the stats would actually end up very differently. They've become sicker over time, and they are more closer, less of a blue zone, I would say, and more closer to being more like a sad diet because they're gone more plant-based. And that would really stuff up the narrative now, wouldn't it? So that's another sideshow on that issue. But yeah, but the key focus is that let's not go too crazy on all these hormesis things. People just, yeah. Look, I did basically. I've done ice baths. If you've got an underlying cardiovascular disease or underlying certain conditions, it may not be a good idea. It can be a shock to the system, and there have been incidents of people having heart attacks or other, strange symptoms. So it's not something I recommend to people, because some threshold, stress threshold, they could be under a lot of other stresses and all that. That extra stress just pushed them over the barrel, and they had underlying conditions. Obviously, some of these people weren't on a carnivore diet, but still, I'm not saying that it's going to cause you that problem. No, that would be ridiculous. You're a healthy young person on a species appropriate diet. But do you really need to put yourself under this sort of level of stress? Go and do some exercise. That will, that will have the same level of hormesis, and it's not as bad as shivering. I did a couple of times, and I go, I'm over this.
I'm
over this. I go, oh, this is too cold. I think I managed just slightly over a minute. That was my best. Most of the time, it was like 30 seconds and all that. So, oh God, that was really hard. Getting over a minute. I know. My brother Kim, he actually was doing like 5 minutes. I go, you're freaking crazy. I know, 5 minutes under absolute cold bath. And we're not talking about like in a cold bath, under the shower. which is even worse because you're getting it intermittently. It's not continuous. Like in a cold bath, it's continuous. Showering is sort of intermittent. One moment, it's slightly less. It's hitting you in one place. It's slightly getting warmer, then getting cold again. It's like multiple assaults. I go, you're fucking, you're effing
Oh,
crazy.
no, that's like that's a nightmare.
Torture. Exactly. That's like waterboarding. I'll take the
It's-
waterboarding. Don't put me under the cold shower.
I did do like
Waterboarding, even waterboarding is faster. It's just a hormetic effect. The CIA do it, Chinese do it. There are plenty of people out there that can do it for you. Just tell them you're an agent from another country. They'll do it for you. You'll get a lot of
yeah, I'm a
hormesis.
Western spy.
That's it. Please give me hormesis.
Oh God.
Yes. I have to laugh with these people, Zach. I mean, I hope you're giggling on the other side as well. Hope you don't take these two things too serious. It's not at your expense. It's just a whole sort of genre of these sort of things. It's I had a lot of laughs with my brothers about the craziness of some of this sort of stuff.